All right. What's up?
Is it just the two of us? Just the
two of us. We can make it if we. That's a goat song, man. That song is like.
Yeah, that's a classic. Song. I'm surprised you know it. I didn't think you knew like old timey shit.
You know, I learned it in college in 2019. I don't know where I heard it from, but I figured I typed in the lyrics on Google. I figured it out, and I was like, it's like 2 a.m. the first time I heard it. I'll never forget. I was like, this is an amazing song. It's just absolutely beautiful.
What'd you think about? Well, besides discussing music, of course. Me and Carlos are musicians, by the way. Someone brought it up in the comments. I don't know how they knew that we were in a band together a long time ago, but
okay, so can you, while we're waiting for Chris and Carlos, can you give us the backstory on this band? How did it start? How long did it run?
Sure. I mean, we were kids. I mean, I guess 18 years old. I don't know what it was. This is a long time ago. Me and Carlos go way back, but I was in a band called Killer Box Red. I'm starting to remember some things. And another, Killer Box Red, KBR. And then later I started my own band called Get Naked Robot, which you guys can look up. I actually still have some songs. GetNakedRobot.com.
Naked Robot?
Still got some songs, yeah. It was acoustic songs later, but first we were like rock. And then me and Carlos, he was a drummer. We were just hanging out. He was playing drums, but I had a band already. So we are like, hey, why don't we just hang out, jam, have fun? So we started a band called Occasional Handjob. And yeah, it's kids, man. We were kids. So, but
did you know nothing about branding at that time? Occasional Hand. You thought that was the brand that was gonna.
What's funny is the one show we had, we practiced. The one show we had, the guy took out the guy who owned the club. Okay, he you know, because you can get a show even if you suck. Basically, you can go on first. You could go on early, 7, 8 o'clock. So we went early. This guy takes out a video camera, and then after the show, he's like, "Yo, I heard your song. As soon as I heard you, I took out my video camera and I started recording because you guys are going to be famous." We were good. No, we were actually good.
This is the 90s?
This was the 90s, yeah. But look, you know, being kids, we didn't take anything seriously. We just moved on with different things. But we did have a good thing going, and I'm sad to say that we didn't continue it because it was a good band.
How did you think of distribution and like marketing and like music discovery at that age? Like, were you just trying to find local gigs? And
it was local gigs like CBGB's, Lemoore. There was a bunch of Brooklyn clubs, Manhattan clubs, and yes, we actually sold demos, like actual tape demos. I sold them, and people bought them in high school. So 16, 17, 18, I was selling demos. I remember $5, and you know, I guess friends buy them, whoever. But yeah, we actually sold out.
And what instrument did you play?
I played guitar, and also
you still know how to play?
I still play all the time. Right here. Here's my little puppy right here laying down. Let me see.
Can you play something?
I'm not going to play anything, but I got a lot of guitars, but I like this one a lot.
Wow. And you like actually can play. Like you can hear a song on the radio and kind of mimic it to an extent. Like you know how
I can learn any song. I mean, I'm not saying I have a perfect pitch, but yeah, if I take a look at the tablature, I can play any song.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. And so now, do you have any regrets at all?
Played the song Hand Job? No, we had no song called Hand Job. That wasn't
Occasional Hand Job, bro.
That was the name of the band. That's totally different.
No, but like, did your parents say anything about the name? Like, did they be like, "What the fuck is wrong?"
Parents? We didn't talk about our parents till like
you didn't tell the name of your band to your parents.
You're like 17 years old. You're gonna be like, "Mom, Dad, I just started a band. It's called Occasional Hand Job." Yeah.
Yo, no, that's a fact, bro. Because my parents still have no idea that I do like a Pound Here podcast. And like I try to tell them about it, and they're just like, okay, like they have no idea.
I think they think you're just talking loud in your own basement room.
Oh, literally, after the podcast, I went up to my mom because she didn't fall asleep. She's like, "Why are you so loud?" I was like, "There's 300 people." I was like excited. I was talking to them, and she was like, "I keep hearing that stupid bell." And it was funny.
So before we go on, I gotta admit that I was a total a-hole yesterday at the end of the podcast. And hold on, Chris. I'm going to do my apology today. So I was mean to Matt Money. I was totally immature, inappropriate, and downright just not nice. Let me put it this way. And I don't want to do that, so I want to apologize. I don't know if he's in the comments or he just hates me too much now to look at the comments anymore, and he's out of the pod. But I don't want to do that, Matt. I'm sorry, and hopefully I can make it up 2 ways. One is my wife is sending me to anger management next week. So that's happening. She's already booked a nice little room for me. And number 2, I think I'm going to buy some Chevron and Exxon and just put in the portfolio.
Okay, hold on. First, is she actually sending you to anger management?
Or is that what do you think?
Okay, so what was her reaction yesterday when the pod ended?
She just booked a weekend stay. That's it.
What was her reaction as soon as the pod ended? What did she say?
She's like, dude, don't be an asshole about it. Just be funny. Don't be an asshole. And she's right.
Yeah, that's fair.
So Mac Money, I am sorry. When you come on the pod, I'll apologize in person again. I have no problem admitting when I'm wrong.
Yeah, two things I'll say on that, then we'll move on. One, I texted Matt last night, and he totally understood, and he was like, "Look, I know he's an entertainer; it's not a big deal." So I think we'll get
I'm an entertainer now. Nice.
Yeah, he said you're entitled to your own opinion. He's an entertainer. Obviously, you were a little aggressive, but he got it. And so I think we'll still get him on the pod. Second is, look, this is what happens when you when we do content. It's like sometimes we get into a character, we get into a role, and like I've done it before as well. And I remember one time I called you stupid and stuff. Like I shouldn't have called you stupid, right? Like that happens. So
you called me ugly once. That was the most.
But that was a
most
joke.
hurtful one.
But it wasn't a joke because you're not. I don't think you're actually ugly.
Dude,
we said too. I think I'm damn cute, but still,
we said to Vitaly, he sounds
like a rat. You still sound like a rat, but you don't look like a rat.
You see, this is what I mean, man. All right, whatever.
Yeah, your mic, dude. Your mic is not. I don't know what's wrong with your mic, but.
All right, hold on.
Thank you, Godwin. Yes, when I'm wrong, I have no problem admitting I am wrong, and I was definitely wrong there, 100%.
How's it sound now?
Much better. It's just a little low. It's just a little low, but you're good.
How's that, baby?
That's better. That's better.
All right, cool.
I forget sometimes, by the way, that we're on the internet. I totally.
That's the thing. That's the other. I'm happy you said that's the other thing. Like sometimes you forget, like, because we're just bullshitting with each other back and forth. Like if Matt Money was here in person and you said that, it would never sound as aggressive as it does.
You wouldn't say that if Matt Money was there. That's the
difference. You wouldn't say that, right? You wouldn't call anyone stupid because it's like there's no need because we're all in person. So sometimes the internet makes a little different, but. Yeah, it is what it is. I reckon it to like the All In podcast when Chamath Palihapitiya said that he doesn't care about the genocide going on in China with the Uyghurs, and like you get his argument. I'm
glad you relate that to the Matt.
No, but it's the context of his argument was like, look, I have my own life, I have my own problems. I'm trying to solve climate change. That stuff is not stuff I worry about. But the way it sounded was like he doesn't care about those people and what's going on. And it's like some things get so lost in translation sometimes over the internet because you're in the heat of a podcast, you're just doing it, you're talking. And, you get better from that and you learn and,
I agree. And also, I do believe this is entertainment at the end of the day. I don't believe we are financial advisors. So,
correct.
Anyway, hopefully we're putting on a good show and not being mean about it. That's what's important.
Correct. All right. Finance Junkies, Carlos, Chris. Someone said I had you guys in the wrong order last night. So I think I had Vitaly on the bottom last night. So I got to keep you at the
When
top.
I saw the picture you posted on Twitter of what it looks like from your screen, it was really weird. I was like,
the StreamYard link?
Yeah, it was just weird because I'm like in the wrong spot.
Wow, you guys actually have a spot you like. All right. I'm like, what?
I like the spot that I'm in. Like right here is perfect to me.
Right. Under a mitt.
I would want to see one day,
bottom.
Chris. I'd want to see one day what it would look like if you were looking directly into the camera. I think it would feel weird.
I'm telling you, I've tried it, like where I've actually put the camera in front of me, and it makes me feel really just weird. I don't know.
So
I like
all of your Zooms, like when you're for your business, they're all off to the side.
Yep.
You know what? Like I work in TV, and so the position that you're in and the direction you're facing, that's the interviewer. They always put the subject of the interview on the right side, looking left. So I always feel like you're interviewing everybody.
Oh, interesting.
For the cowbell made me look at the camera, and I'm a cinematographer, but I don't stand in front of the camera. I always stand behind it. So I am totally not comfortable looking right there. You know what I'm saying?
It was so much fun.
That's actually one of the cool things about NVIDIA. I don't know if you guys saw the
he really pivoted
that
really well.
Hold on.
I had a whole thing ready.
No, hold on.
That's really cool about SVG.
That segue was brought to you by Xpeng FSD.
No, I'm just saying.
He's going to go into the Adobe podcasting, the AI.
Yeah. No. NVIDIA has this thing where like you can connect to it and the software automatically corrects your orientation and your eyes so that you're actually focusing straight ahead. Because I think that's one of the things that like really sucks. Like when you go on a Zoom call or something and everyone's like looking off to the side or they're looking like down or looking up, it feels weird. But with NVIDIA, it corrects it so that even if you change your head any direction, the eyes will go in one direction. So it's like, this is like the things about like AI that I never thought was a possibility, but then now I'm like, oh wow, this is actually something that could be
that's the actual pivot. Let's get right into that, and we'll talk about the market
before
after
he pivots.
Segment.
There, at the end of the day, you're not going to be looking anywhere. You're going to be an avatar.
That's true.
like the metaverse.
Absolutely.
So two big things in the world of AI. I mean, this is the biggest one. Then I'll get to the tweet Carlos shared today. The godfather of AI, I forgot his name, Nick Hilton, I believe that's his name, has quit Google, and he says he regrets his life's work through the risks of humanity. This is not just a random thing. The New York Times did an entire profile on this. I read it. And basically, the guy created a company. He sold it for $44 million, like I think 10 years ago when AI was really just starting to Google. And he's been at the core of building the technology that ChatGPT uses. But Google never put it out, right? Because they knew, like the article goes into the fact, they knew it would kill their search business. They knew it was too powerful. But then Microsoft put it out. So everything went turmoil in Google because they had to figure out how to, compete with Microsoft. And now the guy's quit because he was under an NDA while he worked at Google. And he basically says, this shit is going to go to the fan. The fake news it will create will be indistinguishable from reality, and people will lose their jobs. And eventually, AI will kill all of us because it will be it'll code their own autonomous weapons. What are your thoughts on this? This is a pretty dramatic thing happening, and then I'll get to Carlos's tweet of AI videos basically taking away the need for editors.
I think that was my tweet. But
that was your tweet? Oh, it was from the freelancer. Okay, go ahead. You can start, Vitaly. I'll share.
If you guys forgot that,
because Vitaly suddenly is back on the freelancer finance Twitter.
God.
All of a sudden,
because I don't know who tweets when it's one of you.
I know because
he doesn't want me to put the dash V next to it because he says it confuses the audience.
No, I didn't say that.
No, it doesn't confuse the audience. It just looks really weird when you put the dash.
Because he was using VR Vitaly forever. And when I wanted to sign up for Twitter Blue, I did. I signed up for it and I started using it. And then I guess once it started gaining traction, he's suddenly back on Freelancer Finance again. And now he's like tweeting and responding to everybody. I'm like, dude, it's confusing people.
I'm not even going to bring up the nonsense Carlos is bringing up right now.
You know how I know it's Carlos from the Freelance Finance? Whenever someone says anything bad about Meta, I'm like, oh, that's Carlos.
That's definitely Carlos.
There is, yeah. Well, that's when it sounds like
I think I'm adding the dash V again, so nobody's confused anymore.
Okay, Vitaly, your thoughts on the head of AI leaving Google?
It confused Kelly. Thank you. It confused me when you don't use the dash. I don't know who I'm flirting with.
Oh my God, it's hilarious.
Yeah, I don't need Kelly reading our DMs, Kel.
And then this is the video where this is generated by AI. Kind of
look at their hands, by the way. They got like 8 or 9 fingers. Just FYI.
But like, if it can do this already in another 2 years, it's gonna get really good. Like, this is phenomenal for 2022.
Here, I'll tell you something that this is actually, I'm using this on a job. There's a project that I'm doing. It's a developmental sizzle. So it's a type of video that companies use to sell shows. It's not a show. It's not real yet, but they make a video that they use that they take to buyers. And so you shoot stuff and you use stock footage to offset what you don't have. So what we need is really specific, and we couldn't find it anywhere on a stock site. So we used AI to generate what we needed. We just put the prompt into it, and it would generate short video clips of very specific things that we needed that looked photorealistic. It's crazy.
It's insane.
So like all these stock companies, Getty, Shutterstock, Pond5,
they're done.
What are they going to do?
Why do you need images that are stock when you got Midjourney?
Well, like, okay, imagine if we're going to France and we're going to go there to shoot a couple of interviews, but I want drone footage flying over the Eiffel Tower at night, right? It's much easier to just buy that shot for $20 on Getty than it is to go get a drone operator and go shoot it. And you're most likely not going to be able to shoot it as good as those guys are. So there's a real need for that. But it was shocking how you just literally type what you want and then you can give it notes. No, make it look like this, do this, make it at sunset. I was like, this is ridiculous. And then you see this thing where they just had a text prompt and created a commercial. It's going to happen so fast. I mean, there are certain industries and businesses that are just going to be gone, at least in like mine and Vitaly's field. Like,
okay, so Vitaly, what are your thoughts on this guy quitting Google just to speak out about it?
Well, AI is moving faster than I originally gave it credit for. Just to see the iteration, once a core product like ChatGPT and Transformer technology, as soon as they actually made something useful, all of the things built on top of it is kind of amazing how fast it's moving. But this guy, I didn't read the article, by the way, but the fact that he took $44 million, spent 20 years collecting his checks at Google, and is all of a sudden like, hey, we should stop developing shit now that I'm out, now that he's around 80 years old and he's out. I think that's a really lame thing for him to do. Honestly, he should have stopped 20 years ago if he actually thought it was dangerous for humanity.
I agree, but that's just the problem with humanity, right? We all do shit selfishly until we realize the repercussions.
He was being selfish. He was collecting his checks. He got a lot of stock options in Google. Now Google is down. He's like, you know what? This is the perfect time to leave. I'm leaving at the top.
The 10th man. The 10th man idea of this is maybe they just stumbled on something. That's what makes me think like maybe they just stumbled on something. And he's like, oh shit. It's like that scientist that they quoted when
like something bad, right? Something.
Yeah, like remember the science? There was the famous scientist when they first were able to split the atom bomb. Like there was a moment when they did it for the first time. It was like they couldn't do it, and then they did it. And that scientist was like, oh my God, whatever he said, something like, I've unleashed something that can never.
Yeah,
whatever,
but the best thing for it to do is
destroyer of
to
worlds or whatever.
You're thinking of Oppenheimer, and Oppenheimer created. He credited he actually quoted the Bhagavad Gita where he said, "I am in Hinduism there is a god, one of the main three gods, Shiva, who's the destroyer. So in our religion we have the creator, the preserver, and the destroyer, and Shiva's the destroyer. And so he quoted him saying, I am death embodied now, because literally what he created was something that could destroy the world. But see, the key to remember with any technology that comes out is that oftentimes the possibilities of what can happen are unknown to us. We do, as scientists, you should want to do the research to better humanity. I think right now we're looking at this like, oh my God, people are going to lose their jobs and all this other stuff. It's true. Some people will definitely lose their jobs, but that's the same argument that's made with technology.
IBM came out today and said we can replace 7,800
No.
jobs.
See, this is the type of stuff like misleading headlines that are then quoted again and again by everyone else without really reading what happened. One of the things they said that they're going to pause hiring and evaluating whether or not that there are certain jobs that can be filled by AI. Some idiot said, oh, IBM is going to replace 7,800 jobs all of a sudden. Like, no, IBM is going to be.
Wait, so that 7,800 number was made up. IBM never said that.
Look at the quote. Go ahead. Put the headline on there. Go ahead. Bring it up. Just bring it up, just for the hell of it. We brought it up, so bring it up.
Bro, this is from Reuters, my guy. This is not.
Look it up. Look it up. Look at the actual article itself.
Okay, Reuters.
IBM. The point is, I'm glad you brought up the atomic bomb.
See, look, the headline is there. It says, there you go. Could be replaced by AI, right? Yet the headline says what?
That's semantics. The point is the fact that you could replace 8,000 people overnight.
Amit. The headline says,
the headline is misleading.
The IBM plans to replace 7,800 jobs with AI. That is the plan. Then the Reuters guy just says expects to pause hiring as roughly 7,800 jobs could be replaced by AI. There are definitely places. I could say right now, everyone could stop using Google, and so Google is going to lose all of its business value. Yeah, could be, should be, would be. All that shit is speculation.
I don't see the distinction here. If their argument is 7,800 jobs will be replaced with AI, and then they're pausing hiring because they could be replaced. The whole point is, it's not that those 78 people are getting fired. That's not what I thought. I thought is that
just read without any context. Just read the headline. The headline is misleading.
The headline IBM to pause hiring and plan to replace 70.
Plan means it's a plan. It doesn't mean could. It means it's a plan
going to happen. Yeah. So this
that's fair, but like the point is, if they could replace 8,000 jobs, it could, right? We'll keep saying the word could. That's a big deal.
Amit, that's all speculation. This is the same kind of nonsense that you heard during the internet revolution. That's what happened too. Everyone was like, "Oh, we're gonna replace everybody with fucking computers," and no, that's not how the world happened. There's
actually more jobs now.
Right, exactly. So I think we're thinking
I
right
think you
now.
guys are wrong on this one, man. These are jobs that think about. So Kelly, let's bring her up, right? She has a website. She sells stuff online. She does copywriting for that website. She has told me she has significantly rolled back the amount she pays to copywriters because of ChatGPT. Those are jobs that are like, this is real stuff. This is the internet opened opportunities. AI will open opportunities, but some shit you just don't need the person to do it.
I agree. And in fact, in these programs for editing, by the way, you can now just get a transcription immediately underneath the text. I know Google does it, but it's happening in the actual software where it used to be where I would shoot something, a lot of interviews. They would go out to a person. They would transcribe everything. It would come back a day later. Then they would go through the transcription and actually put together an edit. Now you can actually do the edit. The transcription's automatic, it takes 5 minutes, and you can actually do the edit, search for words, and do an edit based on the actual words in the actual edit. It's kind of crazy.
So, Chris, what do you think about the guy? It's two questions, right? The guy left Google. He says two things. Jobs are going to be gone, and he says the AI will become so sentient, and Google and Microsoft have no they feel no ethical responsibility because they're just chasing profits and the lawmakers can't regulate it fast enough. Do you think he's overblowing these claims, or do you think that there is some truth to what he's saying?
So once again, I have to really dig deep into this person's comments because a lot of stuff is sensationalized. Anytime you read things, you have to take it with a grain of salt, and you can't just say this person made this exact statement and this is what's going to happen. Like, no, there are plenty of smart people out there that are suggesting that we put guardrails against AI. AI has not completely taken over the world. I'm on the camp that says that we still have enough control over our own. See, there's a level of control that we will give up when technology comes around, and that just becomes a second nature part of how we operate. But that doesn't mean that new things can't be created at the same time. And there's also going to be things that are from a regulatory and legislative point going to come out that prevent AI from becoming this mass like Terminator style killing machine. The biggest problem that I'm seeing with AI is the security implications. And what I mean by that is like if you wanted to, let's say, hack someone's password or something in the past, it was a much harder proposition. You had to get a lot of data about a user. You had to use a lot of different tactics. Like one of the tactics that a lot of people used, especially like I know at my work, because we have to do multiple exercises on this. Something called spear phishing, right? Where you're basically interacting with a person and you somehow pull data from them, you get information out of them, and then you're able to somehow extract the password out of them. So I think a lot of times people are purely assume that this is about some guy sitting in a computer just typing up some malicious code and then automatically being able to have like control over your computer. That's not how hacking. Well, I mean, that is some of it, but a lot of it is just building confidence with a person to give you some personal information that can then lead you into the rabbit hole of revealing your password. Most people, when they create a password, they're not putting like XYZ234968875. They usually put like their mother's, middle name, or they're putting their
actually the most common
name.
password is 12345
Password.
That is actually
Yeah.
the most and password.
Yeah.
But do we
ABC
think the
1, 2,
AI?
3.
Do we think the AI can become that sentient that
No.
Google
Wait,
and
no,
Microsoft
let me-
can't control it?
No, this
But
is
let me-
ridiculous. This is the ridiculous
no.
part of it.
So let me
I don't
just
know if that's
finish my.
ridiculous.
It
Let
is.
me just
I don't think it's ridiculous to think.
I
that
know you
would-
don't think it because
Yeah.
you've never coded the thing.
Right.
and
Okay.
it's
So there
ridiculous.
you are arguing by authority. I mean,
It's
so because-
ridiculous.
right. Because
I
Okay,
am.
hold on. Let
I'm
Chris
sorry.
finish. Let Chris finish.
It's
then
that-
Carlos.
I'm the only one who
Yeah.
actually coded some of this, and it
Right,
is
okay.
silly to believe that this.
All right, go ahead, Chris.
Yes. No. So all I'm trying to say is now these new AI software, they can create bots, and these bots can interact with each other. I mean, with not just each other, but with us, and make it very humanistic. So what ends up happening is now they can extract a lot of data from us, and then using that data, they can extrapolate what our passwords are. Believe it or not, what our secret answers are. So like sometimes you go and you're like, oh, I forgot my password, Google, and you go to like the 3 challenge questions. Well, guess what? You can ask those 3 challenge questions, and now you have backdoor access into someone's email. They have access to your email, then they have access to all sorts of like your bank accounts and everything else, because all your recovery stuff goes to your recovery email. So these are the kinds of things that with AI can become infinitely more easier for hackers.
Okay,
So I think the
Vitaly, why do
security
you think
implications are
it's
bad.
not impossible? Why do you think it's impossible?
Machine learning is convolutions. It is math. It is multiplications and additions over and over again. I'll give you let me see if I could explain it in a simple way. Imagine an image. Like right now, you're looking at me and you, right? You're like, oh, your brain interprets me as Vitaly, and Chris says Chris. Obviously, something is going on that interprets that. The way a machine does that recognizes Chris, it takes each pixel, doesn't combine them all. It just takes each pixel, and you could give them 1 million images of Chris. And once those pixels go through basically a network that's sort of, it's trained by humans too, by the way. It says, oh, this picture of Chris is actually Carlos. And the guy at the end of it, even in Tesla, the guy says, no, that's not Carlos. That's Chris. And he has to say that to him. He says it to the machine. That's Chris. You're wrong. Go back, put that in your model. Okay. Break up those pixels again. Now, every time you see the string, you're going to see Chris now. And now you give a new picture of Chris. And it's like, oh, I see Amit now. Okay. Because you guys are similar. You have similar backgrounds, whatever. It sees you now. And you're like, no, that's not Amit. That is Chris. And you keep doing that 1 million times, even with human intervention. It's called reinforced learning. And this is the things you guys haven't done, which is important to do. And all it is nothing but numbers and
Why does any of that
convolutions,
mean AI can't become sentient?
because there's no sentience in that. So if you're talking about maybe if you extend it out and we develop some other models based on this, that can happen.
Isn't
I'm
that the
saying
point?
right now, the way it works with these convolutional networks, machine learning is literally additions and subtractions. That's all it's doing. And it's doing it a lot over big data sets. Okay. And it's doing it in particular data sets. So it looks like it's very smart. That's what it looks like. Okay. But it is not smart. So I hope I explained it a little bit clearly, but there is no intelligence here at all. Zero intelligence, in fact.
Can I explain to you why it is a problem? Okay.
Okay.
I have watched hours and hours of lectures of some of the most intelligent people speaking on AI. Here's the problem. No one neuron in your brain is self-aware. No one neuron is actually intelligent. It's a single cell. It's the network of them together that creates consciousness. And they still don't understand how that works. It's the network. These guys are talking about, they don't even know how some of these AI things work. Like the people that were doing the robots that trained how to play soccer, that taught themselves how to play soccer, they still don't know how they taught themselves how to play soccer. They just know that they did. And this is the problem. It's a network. And we don't even understand how our own brain works, but we're smart enough to understand that we're alive. But we don't even.
Do you want me to explain you how they learn to play soccer in a lot of cases? Do you want me to explain that too? Because I can. It's not the way you think.
Vitaly, even if you break it down, I think Carlos's point is this can go much crazier than we imagine.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
Of that,
I agree.
But
But at some point, when some fundamental breakthrough is made,
what one of the guys was saying is that a lot of the reasons why there's so much money, like one of the first problems that they want AI to solve is human longevity. Like these guys want to live forever. These guys want to figure out how to live forever, which is like, whoa, I never even considered that's like maybe the end game as to what they're talking about is how to create like a super race of human beings, like figure out.
Well, so here's the question I just want to throw out there, and then we'll do like 5 minutes on this and we'll go to the market. If an AI becomes sentient and we give it that assumption, isn't the logical conclusion for it to become a superhuman or a super race or get rid of anyone beneath it, just like we've done to animals and the plants, and we've colonized the entire world? Like it has that superpower towards it. This is what Elon's been warning about, right?
Yeah, but we are the dominant species on this planet. We could wipe out every ant, every armadillo, we could wipe them out tomorrow.
So if AI becomes autonomous and they control autonomous weaponry, that's what the Google guy was saying is the biggest risk. That's why he left.
But is it more of a risk than human beings?
At this point, no. I would say no. At this point, we can
right.
watch it.
I mean, is it more,
Yeah.
Actually, I'll tell you guys about a project that I heard and saw about like a while ago, but it's actually probably one of the scariest things that that come to mind when it comes to AI. So one of them, of course, we're thinking in terms of like electronic warfare, but I'll give you an example of kinetic warfare where this shit is like one man can actually have a lot of dangerous power. You guys ever seen those drone swarms? The ones where they're doing like light shows with like little mini drones, right?
Yeah.
Imagine right now you attach C4 to each one of those and then say, okay, you know what? Go attack a city. You pre-program it. Everyone has its own attack vector. You go. There is no air defense system on the planet that can defeat that many fucking swarm.
You don't need ChatGPT. You don't need ChatGPT for that. It's just going to happen anyway.
No, I know. But that's what I'm saying. That this is the kind of stuff. Though, if those drones become even smarter now, so that now you have targeting acquisition, moving around geospatially with GPS and everything else, and they're moving autonomously, because right now those drones right now are being controlled by a single laptop computer, giving it like directions on which way to go and everything else. Imagine each one of those things is thinking by itself, looking for targets, looking for different attack vectors. These are the kinds of things that scare the shit out of me, because now you can have one guy, all he has to do or she has to do is press execute, and you've got 1,000 drones going towards, let's say, a city like New York City, each one attaching C4 to it, a bomb, so the minute it lands, it explodes. You can wipe out like entire city blocks with these things. I mean, I'm telling you, if we're thinking more on like electronic stuff, I mean,
I think we're of the era that you think it's going to be like a bunch of Ed 209 from RoboCop running around. And I've read that where they said that that's like the future of like political assassinations, where it's like they can have a small drone with facial recognition that can see and recognize that person's face. And there's almost nothing you can do if it's a kamikaze mission. You just, like you said, you can't. And then when you talk about, don't they have like nano drones, like really small ones?
Mm-hmm. They can't carry payload though. But you guys are talking two different things. One is the drone thing, which has nothing to do with AI. That's not the same thing. So they can have some sort of intelligence, but it's really weak intelligence. And it's actually called, I did some research on this. It's called swarm networks. Is this what you're talking about? Where they're sort of swarming. So they know where they are in space. They can coordinate together, but there is one person sort of putting waypoints. And even DJI does this, by the way. Have you seen their little drones that fly around?
Yeah.
You can set like you can basically say facial recognition on you, and it'll just track you
Yeah.
in your car.
Casey Neistat made a video about that actually too.
It's kind of amazing, but that's not the same thing as I think what Carlos is referring to, like general AI that's happening. And I don't know. I think we're far away from the actual general AI. We're at the point where we're taking advantage of all these models, of course, and it seems like they're really intelligent. But even we know they make stupid mistakes. Like they give wrong answers. I think there was a whole thread about asking ChatGPT. It's fixed now, but it was like, oh, if I add 2 to this and 2 plus 2 is this, and then it gave out like 5. The answer is 5. When any kid would say the answer is 4. So it doesn't have the intelligence you're claiming it does. It just has a lot of information right now. So one day when we can figure out the next evolution in it, I agree with you. It's coming. I just don't think it's as soon as you guys think it is. But it could still take our jobs. So I'm not saying it can't take our jobs.
Yeah, in terms of economy, that's what the hell?
What just happened?
We're looking at
SoFi. That's so interesting. No,
it's like, oh, SoFi.
AI.
Hold on. Oh, I had the wrong thing.
I guess
Wait,
AI.
where did it? Okay, here we go. Okay, so Chris, just because you said
What just
economy, we got to transition to the economy now. So we had a very interesting day. 3 major things that happened today. SoFi collapsed 12.2%. We'll get some thoughts on that by someone who was predicting this, named Christopher Patel. Second, we had NVIDIA rally 5% to 289. I'm confused about this. I need someone to break this down to me because I just don't get it. And then we have this bad boy making all-time like yearly highs, or like just below yearly highs. Or no, I got to 417 today. So 2023 highs, the S&P index. What's going on? Why are some equities getting crushed? Why are some equities going to the moon? Why you see all this red on the left-hand side of the screen, but the index is fine? Chris, can you break some of this down for us?
Yeah, because the index are heavily weighted towards few companies. So if the few companies are holding up strong, the rest of the index holds up strong too. You know, that's just how it is. That's not a very complicated answer.
Okay, so index is fine. Now for the 356 people that are here, thank you so much for joining us on a Monday night. Why did SoFi collapse 12%?
I know the answer to it. All right, so when it comes to SoFi and companies like that, just because the face value numbers look absolutely great, because they are, there's inherent risks right now to the financial sector from illiquid assets. SoFi right now has a ton of personal loans that are just sitting on their balance sheet. They're held for maturity. Held for sale. So you're basically keeping a lot of these things on your balance sheet at any given time. If you have a rush of depositors trying to take their money out of SoFi, they're going to have to try to liquidate those personal loans, and they're not going to get these good terms. They're going to have to liquidate at pennies on the dollar, because right now the cost of the credit quality aside, it's not that great of a return adjusted for the risk that they're taking on. So that's one thing. And the other thing is Galileo is not as big as people are thinking. Like every time I hear the SoFi Weekly, you guys are so bullish on SoFi because Galileo is going to take over the world, the fintech, AWS, and I'm just like, it makes up barely anything in their balance sheet, in their revenue. And then on top of it, now you've got negative growth for Galileo.
Yeah,
so what do you think is going to happen? So, so you guys are thinking that this is some kind of revolutionary technology company, but their revolutionary technology part is actually not growing as much anymore. So what are you going to rely on? You're going to rely on whatever's the core business. The core business, of course, is the personal loans that they've pivoted to after the student loans. So those are much riskier. So right now you could go to like other companies that are fundamentally doing just personal loans at scale, who actually have better margins and at the same time have credit loss provisions in place. So yeah, I just think that the market
did it warrant a 12% decline, because analysts expected -9 cents EPS, came in at -5 cents. I mean, like, it was a triple beat on revenue, EPS, member growth, everything. But I think them reporting the day FRC gets seized by JPM, that also played a role in all banks being down. You don't think that played any role at all?
No. JP Morgan did well. You know,
Well,
JP
yeah, of
Morgan.
course, JP Morgan did well.
There were other banks in the sector. I was looking. They did well. They didn't like lose out. I think Capital One was up too. Bank of America was up at one point. So I don't think this is like a financial contagion where SoFi got caught up in just that. Like, no, it's just everyone is going towards credit. What is that thing called? Like safety. So if your organization and your business is safe, people will give you a premium for it. Whereas if you're taking a lot more risks, the business was punished. I mean, the market's going to punish you for it. That's all.
Okay. Vitali, why is NVIDIA continuing to get close to
we're
$300?
SoFi.
Oh, do you have any thoughts on SoFi? Go ahead. Anything that.
Well, the only thought I had is like, yes, the only thing I cared about is actually Galileo, and it's down quarter over quarter, which was my fear last time that the growth was slowing. So, yeah, it's not exciting to be involved in just a bank, because if I want dividends in bank, I have JP Morgan. So if SoFi is not paying dividends and they're not growing their Galileo business, which I think is the only reason you would want to buy something like this, to make it a SaaS business as opposed to just a bank, then I'm not too happy about it. But I haven't sold it yet, by the way. So I missed the pump and then the immediate dump. So I didn't get a chance to actually offload anything.
Did you buy any? Or are you buying
SoFi? I'm not buying any SoFi. No, there's so many good stocks out there. I keep one guy commented on Twitter, which stocks? Like what are you talking about? Amazon, Google, Tesla, Enphase, they're all going down. Like, why would I be buying SoFi when like the best stocks in the market are going down?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the other thing too, Amit. Like the opportunity cost of being in a company for a long period of time while they figure out and they do their soul searching. That's another thing. So right now, if you have a quality company with real good assets, healthy cash flows, it's selling at a discount. Why would you want to be in a more speculative name? That's all.
That's right. That's also why I didn't DCA today.
Me and Chris were going back and forth. On the charts. I don't know if should we share the charts on Amazon?
Yeah. Definitely.
Well, can we touch on NVIDIA real quick, and then I was going to transition to Amazon. So don't worry, the moderator.
By the way, Weight Watchers is the one that y'all should be watching out for. That was up 7% today.
Dude, did you see NVIDIA? Remember that? Remember our discussion?
Okay, so Vitali, why is the NVIDIA up? Why is NVIDIA
up? No, it's I think someone in our Discord actually said it's a flight to safety. AI is the hot new thing, so everybody's going to NVIDIA, and it's running back to 330, which was its high. It's kind of crazy. It might actually get to 330. I did sell, I think almost half my position in NVIDIA because I'm getting ready for my Enphase buys. As I said, I'd be transitioning some of my stocks to Enphase. So I love NVIDIA, but I think it's getting a little bit ahead of its skis,
Now, flight to safety means investors and institutions in particular don't see anywhere safe they can run to in the market. So they go to one name that they think has the most.
Yeah, remember last year, everyone went into I think it was a year ago, everyone went into Google, everyone went into Apple, and then at some point it becomes like, oh, well, that's done. So let's sell that off. So I think NVIDIA is going through something similar, but the run can go higher than we all expect. It can go past 330, but I think at 330, I'm just going to take my profits and move on.
Dude, so many people are getting burned on their NVIDIA shorts. Like I keep seeing people on Twitter. The thing is, this is the problem with shorting a company, and this is why I don't personally do it. When you try to short a company, and there's some momentum behind it, the market can be, and there's the saying, the market can stay irrational longer than you can stay solvent, right? That is the kind of logic that when it comes to the market, you should never fuck around and be like, oh, you know what? I'm going to go purely based on technicals and numbers and then trade based on that. Same thing with Weight Watchers. I know some people were shorting Weight Watchers. Gabe shorted Weight Watchers and then came on. Weight Watchers right now is above his short. If he held on to some of his short position, he would have taken a hit. And, these are the kinds of things that logic don't necessarily make sense. Like I told you, right now, everyone in the healthcare space is looking at GLP-1 medications. Weight Watchers is entering that space.
Somehow he gets that back in there. It goes from NVIDIA to Weight Watchers. I don't know how you do it, dude.
No, because I'm trying to show you guys that I'm trying to explain to you guys that
I get you.
We oftentimes conflate that if the numbers make sense, then automatically the thesis behind the stock price is going to make sense. And that's not necessarily the case. Sometimes the thesis can lead people into a stock and raise it to a much higher level than the numbers justify it. Like right now, everyone's like, NVIDIA, AI, NVIDIA to the moon, right? And so everyone is buying regardless of valuation. That's just how it works. So right now, there's people right now, the subsection of the people are saying, Weight Watchers, GLP-1 to the moon, GLP-1s, let's go. This is the way that I want to play it. And so that's what I did when I was at $4. I saw that this is a big opportunity that could be coming their way, and they're very well positioned for it. So bought in, I did well. So that's the kind of logic that I hope people try to apply, that the market isn't necessarily just about the fundamentals, but it's also about people.
Well, it's about trading. So look, if Wall Street, this is what's funny. Wall Street are not long-term investors.
They're not. I learned this the hard way over the past year. I was like, these motherfuckers don't care about holding.
No. If they see an opportunity, if they see like AI is the hot new thing, they're going to pump NVIDIA and they're going to dump it on you, because you're going to be like, oh, you're getting FOMO. People are getting FOMO now. Oh, AI is the next thing. Absolutely happening tomorrow. You watch. They're going to dump on you as soon as you think it's the next hot thing.
Well, because no matter what, they need to show profits, and they need people buying into their funds, and they're also a lot more risk averse than they pretend to be, right? Yeah, you pretend to be a lot more bold than they are. They have 2%, 5% stop losses on everything.
Yeah, and you have to remember, like back in the day, it was a lot more managed because institutions, they did their trading via phone and everything. Right now, you've got stocks that can get into meme status, and once you hit meme status, no amount of valuation makes any sense, right? So these are also other factors that you have to consider. Like, if I was someone who was actually actively trading on Wall Street, I would not short. Like, you never know when fucking these meme monkeys might come through and just crater the stock way higher.
How long have you been investing, Chris?
Since so probably like 2000,
6 months about now.
2006. No,
He's
2006.
Okay, so you've been almost 20 years.
Yeah,
roughly 20 years. Okay, I don't know about you, but before the internet, I don't remember the markets being this volatile, this crazy.
They were
more volatility as we've had more information. Yeah. Like it's been able to spread misinformation and good information.
Well, the last time
something didn't happen in 2002. You know what I mean?
No, but
it was called pets.com. Remember?
Yeah,
but there wasn't a social kind of.
Yeah, I know, but it was a meme. It was a meme. It's just a different.
It was like the meme of the day, but it's nothing like what we have now, where it's like instant. Reddit.
Oh yeah.
Bang.
Yeah.
It's like
now it's a whole different story. Like, but you see, the thing with the year 2000 was it was word of mouth that was traveling between people, and then auto access to the internet that did it. So back in the day, before the internet, you would have to call in your broker. The broker would have to put an order in for you and all this other stuff, and then the paperwork would eventually come in. Now, with the advent of the internet, everyone could just log on and trade whatever stocks. I don't know, because my dad did it and lost a whole ton of money because some asshole uncle, I still remember the fucking day, this asshole motherfucker, I hope he fucking gets fucking dick cancer and dies. This guy comes up to my...
I want to hear what this guy did.
We're not getting
this guy goes to my dad.
Monetizing this. We talked about bombs.
I think we gotta
my dad,
bring it down.
My dad
rubbed off on you last night. Good.
My
dad was this conservative investor.
I have space at anger management class next week.
No, I just want to highlight. My dad was like this guy who was like this conservative guy. He always saved his money. We were gonna get a house. I had a college fund. Like I was gonna go to college really good. It's gonna be great. This asshole comes and sits there. Because everyone guessed. Yeah, I made like $30,000 last month in the stock market. And that's when my dad's like, what? How did you make money?
Oh, no.
And, then this guy starts to tell him then the guy's like, yeah, I just bought this one stock. It's great. And then my dad, okay. And then my dad buys a little bit of stock and he sees like a little bit of gains and he's like, easy money, and then starts to take a little bit more and then a little bit more, and then he thinks like, oh, this is going to change the world. He's like, tells my mom, you don't have to work anymore. Things are
he gets into Tesla. Some schmuck tells him to sell it.
What year is this?
2001. I think it was the mid 2000s. So I was still
right. He's like September 1st. Buy American.
I was in high school.
Going to the moon.
Yeah. So
okay, Chris, hold on. Before you complete the story, I just want to say shout out to 370 people here. This is the most we've ever had. Thank you so much for being here. We're at about 15 minutes left, about 380 now. Please put your questions in the chat before, as Chris finishes his story, we'll move on to questions.
We didn't say, by the way, we didn't say in the beginning, which we should have said. Please go to all our Twitters and just subscribe. And also retweet this podcast if you can, so other people can see it as well. You know, if you guys like it.
Thank you much. Any questions about stocks or even anything personal, whatever, please leave.
But let Chris finish the story.
Yeah, now Chris, go ahead.
Yeah. So then now my dad's all jacked up on greed, and then of course there's a few days market goes down, and he's like, oh my God, this is a buying opportunity. Time to take life savings and put that shit into the stock. I remember the stock too, JDS Uniphase. I don't know if you guys ever heard of that.
What's the ticker? What's the ticker?
I don't even know what it is. I think JDSU back then, if you look it up. But they got fucking absolutely slaughtered. And then, of course, my dad in 2003 is like, listen, I know we have these plans, but we're going to have to scale back a lot of our plans.
I know you wanted to go to college.
Do you know how much money that he put into it?
150,000.
Is that why you ended up in the Marines?
Army.
Out of shame, his dad just go away.
He's like, look, we can't afford college, but ROTC, baby.
Wait, hold on. What was going on in your dad's mind for him to put 150 grand? Like, did he really want financial freedom so badly he was willing to do anything? Or like, was he just...
Yeah, that's exactly what happens. Once you get into the mindset, that, no one 100% loves their job. My dad didn't exactly love his job. So to him, it was like, look, I want to do better for my family. His intention was never like, I want to become rich so I could leave my wife and kids and go go ham on the world. Like his thing was always, I want to do better for my family. And so what happens is when you think about your family, you always want to do more. Once you get a family, you'll see that you want to try to get the best for them as much as possible. And if you can get it a little bit sooner and you can enjoy it with them, you're willing to take all sorts of risks to do it.
Your dad is like my dad, by the way. He was involved in every MLM marketing, multi-level marketing. One day, no joke, I could tell you so many stories because that's where I learned about not investing in these types of scams, basically. But he brought home grape juice, okay? And he thought this was the next thing. Like there was a grape juice MLM where he would get cartons of grape juice and sell it to the Jews because the Jews love grape juice, okay? And he would get these cartons and cartons, and then I'd be like, okay, so when are you selling this? When are you going out there? When are you going to pitch it? He's like, oh, now I got to go do work? Now I got to go. We had cartons for years of this grape juice sitting in the corner just going to waste.
Was it Kedem?
What was it?
Was it Kedem's?
It could have been Kedem. So that's the big one, right?
That is some damn good grape juice.
Yeah.
This is the one thing Chris's dad needed to do, but Chris was so triggered. And I understand why he was triggered now. Thank you, Think Real, for $20 super chat. I went all in on Tesla 2017. I'm retired now. Love the show, guys.
So then why is it only $20?
$20 is a lot of money.
Yeah, 20. Well, he's retired. He needs to conserve. I get him.
So, Chris, now I get why you made your dad not invest in Tesla because he wasted 150 grand.
Oh, that's a lot
on a stock, and you got so scared at 20.
And this is the year 2000. This is the year 2000. We went from hopefully buying a house, a nice little house in Long Island, to fucking living in a 1-bedroom apartment for another 10 years, dude. Like, think about it.
Oh,
it's
man,
was your mom as pissed off as Vitaly's wife was last night?
No, my mom was on another level, dude.
My wife was so angry that she said I cannot have Kelly.
Well, I was like, you were done with Kelly forever.
Right. But see, this is why. Yeah, go ahead.
I was saying, do you have siblings? Were they also upset about this?
My brother was too young to understand. He's like, look, we're poor, so we're gonna stay poor. That's his logic back then. I was a little bit more understanding of it. So I'm like, oh shit, so it's
wow.
It happens. I mean, these are the kinds of things and to anyone who goes all in on one stock, I wish you nothing but luck. But please, for the love of God, at least hedge a little bit so that something like this doesn't happen. See, back then, my dad didn't know about hedging. My dad didn't know how to buy a put or anything. So if you think that a stock is going to go to the moon, unlimited, you think that it's definitely going to happen, God willing, I hope it does happen for you, but please, for the love of God, buy a little bit of downside protection so that just in case the shit blows up, you have some way to cover yourself.
All right, we covered Weight Watchers now, SLG, and the puts. We got everything. Trifecta, people. Let's drink.
But the puts were about if you go all in on one stock. That was the
It's like when you go see a band play and you want to hear them play like the favorites, the radio hit, the hits.
Yeah, you know what? If you told your dad, by the way, back in 10 years ago, when he had Tesla, you say, Dad, just buy some puts, man. And that'll protect you on the downside. Your dad would be a millionaire right now.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's true. That's true. All right. We got 391 people here. Please like the stream. Really, really helps out. Let's get into some questions. Someone says, when do we think the real estate market will bottom? When do you think the real estate market will
It's
start
doing pretty well around me. I don't know. I'm looking forward to the actual crash.
I
A
think
buddy of mine, I just found out today, he's buying a house in Atlanta because he feels the property values in California are too high. I'm like, why would you do that? He's like, taking his whole family East Coast, and he's like, for $300,000 in Atlanta, like just 20 minutes outside the city, I can get this like, a massive mansion in Atlanta. I was like, damn, it sucks.
I don't know what part of Atlanta he's looking at, man. Most of the nicer areas.
I'm curious to
yeah.
see. But I mean, like, I know the guy. He's he makes good money. He can afford a house out here. But he's just like, the value, the space that you get for.
Yeah.
For what you
Well,
pay.
I think real estate this time around is going to be very regional dependent.
Guys, I got to be back in like 2 minutes. I got to help my mom with
Yeah.
something. You guys can keep talking. I'll be back in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Well,
I
he
think
takes
it's
his
gonna
job seriously.
No. Well, first of all, asshole, my mom had knee replacement surgery a week ago,
All right,
so I got to help her get up the stairs.
Listen, I'm all for you helping your mom. I'm not, not against that.
Yeah, don't stop. Go help your mom.
The only reason
help
I'm doing
your
it is because my dad or sister would do it, but they're both sleeping, so that's why.
That's fine. Go, man. Yeah. No, real estate's going to be heavily dependent on the location. I think there was a lot of people that moved to the South and to the Southwest, right, during COVID, because those are the places where there wasn't any lockdowns. Southeast, and actually Southeast and the South, like Texas. I don't know what you would call that. So a lot of people moved that area. But I think right now there's a lot of jobs saying to people, you need to come back to work. You need to come back to the office. Like New York City, I know half of all hedge funds, they're back, baby. They're New York City is popping again. So I think a lot of people that had moved to Miami and to Florida thinking that work from home was going to be a forever thing, they're getting called back up. So they're all leaving right now and coming back up north. So what you're seeing is just migration pattern of people leaving one area to another. And I think there's going to be fallout in that specific region.
Are you
where
saying,
other regions are
which I hope happens, by the way, are you saying then Texas is going to take a massive hit because Dallas and Austin have exploded?
It's already
if they're not getting the amount of people moving in. And
no, he's saying they're moving out. He says they're coming back out, going back to California.
Right, no one else is coming in, and people are moving back out.
Right. So what happens is all these people move to Austin, and then a lot of times people are like, oh my God, all these people from California, they're moving to Austin. So what happens? They overbuild in Austin, right? But now that there's a move to come back to California and to come back to the other parts, there may not be as much demand going forward. Which means
I think this is where your theory falls apart. There is still not enough real estate in Austin, in Dallas. The prices are still pretty high. Meaning, for the demand. So there's just not enough actual properties for all the people who want to go there. Like he's talking about all the builders, but all the old people who got great rates are not selling their houses, and the builders can't keep up with all the new people coming in. So I still think,
are you speculating this, or are you looking at like data like Redfin or Zillow?
Looking at the houses we were looking at still in Dallas.
Yeah, I've been looking.
They are not much lower. They're a little bit lower. I'll give you that. Maybe 10, 20 grand, but these are $800,000 houses. So 10, 20 grand for that doesn't matter. So
I wish I could present this data, but Amit's not here. But basically I'm looking at the active inventory in Austin.
Okay.
The inventory in Austin used to average between 7,000 to 8,000 listings per year, right? During the height of the pandemic and then all the other stuff that happened, like February 2022 there was only 1,400 listings. Right now, after all of this, the listings are back up to 9,000 active listings in Austin. So pricing pressure is there. The pricing pressure is going to eventually catch up. It's all about looking at the active inventory list. The more active inventory that comes on the market, the more, even Matt Money said, I've heard several sources say that Austin is down pretty bad. It's down almost like 15% year over year from what I'm seeing, by the way.
But see, the thing is,
it's also very high year purchase price.
Yeah.
You're saying down 15% purchase price, like the values of the homes.
Yeah.
I mean, but it was super high, by the way. It was incredibly high like a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So it's basically coming back down to the median. Like, didn't your house pump? Did your house pump where you are in Jersey?
You're talking about me?
Yeah.
A little bit, but I'm in the woods. It's not as big of an area in terms of.
Yeah, but people in the city, you're telling me they didn't look at your area and be like, let's get out of the city and let's move there. Like
they did, but they looked in places like Maplewood, which did pump and still have.
That's why my cousin lived out there.
And Jersey City, by the way, I know some people disagree, but I know Jersey City very well, and the prices are not down in Jersey City.
Well, there's not enough. There's not enough. That place is jam packed.
If anything that's happening, it's people from New York or Brooklyn are moving to Jersey City, so that place is skyrocketing. The rents are going up. By the way, I've raised rents at this point. We'll talk about it, but I'm raising rents on our own tenants. Like, so Carlos is getting a little pay bump. He doesn't even know it. He's getting a little pay bump, but
we got a little something. Yeah, but we took a hiatus for a while. We did take a hiatus for a long time.
Well, it was COVID and you know, uncertain times, but basically, I don't. Once again, I don't know about the whole country, but in terms of New York, it's a madhouse. It's a madhouse.
So there wasn't. So the thing is, like, a lot of building, even during COVID and everything, it didn't happen as much in New York City and the Northeast. So a lot of people are moving back to the Northeast, and so there's a supply gap in the Northeast. So there's a lot of demand in the Northeast and not enough supply. Whereas the South is the exact opposite right now, where there's actually a lot more supply and demand is quickly dropping off. So I think what it is a lot of people assume that, hey, I'm going to go to Florida, I'm going to live there forever. And then they realize that shit, there's tons of hurricanes, the fucking insurance is crazy, you know, the opportunities are not there. Let's go back to New York. So a lot of people are considering moving back. I know there's definitely areas where there are issues with crime in New York City and the Northeast, like, you know, overall, like, you know, well, the Democrats.
I follow Subway Creatures on Instagram.
Yeah. But if you look at where I live, you're still seeing a ton of interest in moving into the area. You know, especially the younger generations, like young knowledge workers. Bro, New York City is fucking flooded with 20-year-olds trying to make it big. And some of them are doing it too. So yeah.
Well, they're piling 8 into an apartment. This is actually a really organic place to drop a story. Remember that story I was telling you with the appraiser came to my house that time 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, sure. Drop it.
So I had an interesting happen. I had a cold call for somebody that wanted to just look at my house, right? And all they saw was the listing that was on the MLS. They didn't see anything. Anyway, long story short, they came into my house, and when he opened the door, he's like, "Oh my God, this is not the listing this is not what I expected," right? He wanted to come by my home and flip it and make me an offer. I bought this house for like $535 in 2017, and I've done a bunch of work on it. Long story short, with the solar and the EV, that you know, and the EV charges that I had on the house, plus the work that I've done, he's like, I can't quite offer you $1 million, but I'll give you $999,998 for it. But he's like, but even then, I know you can get more. So he's like, I'm really only offering you over 30,000 over what it is. That's huge for this area. Interesting. And when he heard that it had the solar, it really, he's like, is it paid? I was like, yeah. And he was like, that's a big selling point. A lot of customers are looking for that now. And I'm seeing more solar. So it was tied to what you were saying about real estate, but also the solar, because I did all of that work before the prices went up on the raw materials. So like the same renovations that I did, like I bought these countertops that were like $500 a plank. Now they're like $800 a plank. So interesting. It was just interesting to see how fast.
So when are you selling?
I'm not selling for.
Take the mill, man. Take the mill. We should do a poll right now. Should Carlos take the mill?
Should I take the mill
and move to Thailand?
$1 million?
Avoid the millionaire tax
for his house. So, someone.
Yeah, I was just saying. Somebody.
Yeah, but then where's Carlos gonna go live? That's Thailand. The problem.
He can sleep at Vitaly's house.
Can you?
I got plenty of room. Actually, you want to stay?
I've stayed at his house, but can you build me a brick? Can you build me a brick house a bit?
Did you hear? Carlos?
Of course. I want to live in that. I want to live behind the door that he's got to the right over there. I want to see what's behind that door.
Carlos, if you want to live in if you want to come back to the old neighborhood, man, my condo in New York's open. You know, in Williamsburg, bro.
My sister was saying,
how much you gonna charge him? $5,000 a month rent?
Nah, dude. At least I'll cut him a break. 4,000 should be fine.
4,995. Just because we're on the podcast together. That's all.
No. I'm good. I think I'm a California convert now. I actually think you guys should all make the move out here. Honestly.
Cali, bro, those taxes, no way.
West Coast. That's what
I was trying to move to Texas.
What taxes?
To avoid the taxes.
I was paying the same taxes in New York as I was paying here.
No,
as a matter of fact,
California.
As a matter of fact, when I was in New York, doing work in New York and Jersey kind of screwed me over.
Yeah, but
all right,
13%
I think
questions.
Questions now.
I'm looking.
Yes, Tommy Trotter, no state tax.
Can we hit the like and subscribe? I think we actually got a bunch of people that aren't hitting that like and subscribe.
We had 395.
This is crazy.
One day we'll cross that 400. Can we all just acknowledge that's like insane?
That's
a big thing for us.
Oh, hold on. This is let's do this is the last thing. Let me this will be the last topic. So Morgan Stanley put out their bear, bull, and base case on Amazon. So base case 65. This is not enough price cuts, more less growth. Base case is decent growth, enough price cuts, add business value to around 242 billion, 18% EBITDA margin. And then bull case is 9 times 2024 EV to EBITDA. Ad business is 290 billion. EBITDA has a 20% margin and $215 on the stock, which would be about a $1.1 trillion company if that happens. Which one do you guys think is the most likely to happen within the next year?
Base case is base case is a no-brainer. I mean, it's $150. That's going to happen.
Are these 12-month price targets, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, this 12-month price targets. I'm like right in between the bull and the base case, probably closer to the base case. I think 165. 165.
165.
Yeah, 165 is the measures that I'm getting based on what I'm seeing, and it's all going to depend on the next 2 quarters of how much CapEx and how much OpEx is going to end up showing up in the bottom line. Like if you look at Amazon, they actually generated net income this quarter. You know, I'm seeing every headline I'm seeing from Amazon is Amazon's cutting back on this, Amazon's cutting back on this, Amazon's laying off here, Amazon is doing less RSUs and more cash payments for their employees. So I think what it is we're going to see even share buybacks are probably on the table right now with all that additional operating cash flow. So I don't think Amazon is by any means going to go to near 65. At 65, it's like I'm selling everything else and buying some fucking Amazon, you know?
Yeah, I think 165, 150 is reasonable. 215 in a year is, we might have to get the Fed to get interest rates back down to like 2-3%.
Can you share that chart I sent to Chris earlier in the WhatsApp group?
Yeah.
Show both. Okay, so let's just go over this one for a second. This is Amazon's like 20-year history. Can you guys believe if we followed technical analysis like a decade ago that like all of us would have been up in this piece? But
wow.
Look at that, 20 years of like basically just following a trend. It's absolutely insane. Now
yeah.
Go to the close-up of that. Go to the close-up.
There's like small dips, but not enough to break it.
Yeah, like you look at that chart and it looks like it's a mess. You're like, oh my God, it's a mess. Insane.
Right. It's so organized, it's crazy. So right now we're underneath that blue line is the bottom of the trend, which it's trying to sort of get to, but Amazon giving us bad quarters is what's keeping us sort of low. But if Amazon gives us a good quarter, like Chris is saying, if they change something like they cut more people and they just show a little bit more growth, we're back into that blue trend, and $150 is like a joke.
Yeah, it's going to be similar to Meta.
It's under that line. If it's under that line, it's only a matter of time.
It's going to be
all of this is cheap.
It's just going to be very similar to Meta, where once you see the tangible outcomes of all the layoffs and all the cost cutting measures, people are just going to be like shocked by how crazy fast the jump higher is going to be. You know, like, I mean, think about it the other day. It was almost up to 122 based on just fundamental numbers. It was the commentary that brought them down. So do you think that they're not going to go any higher? No, I think the numbers are going to just keep going, trending in the right direction. And then everyone on Wall Street's going to wake up. Then they're going to chase the fucker because that's what they do. And once they chase it, it's off to the races.
RK Patel had a good question. 759.
RK Patel.
Yeah. He says, what makes the most money in the stock market? The one who knows what to buy, why to buy, or when to buy?
Oh, this is a good one.
That's a good question.
Who makes the most money? Someone who knows what, why, or when to buy. So you can't have all three.
Right.
So either the what is the stock, the why is the
right. Like you're either right about what the stock was.
It's always the when. It's always the when.
You think it's when? I think it's what.
I think it's why.
I think it's when.
All three.
Wow, dude, that's crazy. No, but that's good.
I agree with Vitaly because if you think about it, it's literally like, okay, so if you look at Warren Buffett, right? Warren Buffett, he doesn't look at anything else other than when. Because at this point, if you look at it, he will buy a company.
What to buy?
He sits on a fuck ton of cash. This is his strategy. See, everyone thinks he's some kind of like super magical like being that can figure out things. Yeah. What he does is he sits on cash. And then when shit goes south, he goes in there like a loan shark, uses his big money to buy up shit super cheap, and then he waits another 10 years and slowly pulls his money out. That's what he did with a lot of companies. Like Occidental. Occidental was down Well, actually, he helped finance the deal, but he got some fucking crazy terms too. That's the other thing. When you have a lot of money, you can get a lot of crazy terms to be an investor in certain companies. And
Chris,
so that's
we
what he
got a
does.
better
He patiently
example.
waits. Yeah.
When me and you were pounding the table at a Meta at 100, not because of that.
Mhm.
Look, I believe
Yeah.
in the metaverse and all that, but I was like,
Yeah.
it's a 10 PE, people. This is
Yeah.
idiotic. Like, this company should not be there. So it was
Yeah.
easy money to be made by anyone who wanted it. And
Mhm.
that's a when question, because I originally bought it when it was $300.
Yeah, okay, but the flip side of that is there's a lot of companies that got smashed too that never came back.
Not many got smashed
but
like
just
Meta.
okay,
Not many got smashed like Meta.
Okay, well, but I'm
Amazon
a lot
is
of
not
companies
at a
got-
10 PE right now.
Yeah, but you're talking about massive companies. You've
Yeah.
already decided the what is what I'm saying. You've
Yeah.
already decided that is a stock to buy, which means you've already decided the what. Because if you look at that Amazon chart, you're like,
well, me maybe,
okay,
but Chris,
I might not be
he
getting the best
doesn't
deal
believe in
right
it.
now.
He sold out. Chris doesn't believe in it. He just saw an opportunity at $80 that a lot of people didn't, and now he's out.
Yeah.
Right. But I'm saying, even if we just go back to what we talked about with Amazon, you look at that and you say, okay, anywhere in this area is a buy zone because
Yep.
we're under this 20-year fucking trend line. So that's telling you Amazon's a good buy. Yes, you can get better deals, right? You can get a better deal by timing the when, but you already know I'm going to put my money in here. And it's just a matter of how long do I have to wait till I get my double? It's not.
You know what? Maybe it's all three. Maybe it's all three. Each. Oh, I think
This
Carlos
is
just
probably
got-
one of the best questions,
Explain-
by the way, we've ever had.
Yeah, that's a really good
Yeah.
question. How do we give the audience money?
Well, what's your Venmo? We'll
Yeah,
send
what's
you
your
10
Venmo?
bucks.
How am I just sending some money for asking a good question?
Send him a Bitcoin.
Yo, Supreme Bag Holder comes up every time we talk about Meta. He's just there. He's ready to.
Well, you said, Amit, you said why? Why do you think it's the why? Because that's
Because-
what Palantir.
Well, that's where I was going. Like,
Because
if
he's
you're-
20, he's an idealist. He's a 20-year-old fucking idealist. That's
I
why.
actually think that was a really that was a really poignant observation that you made that day when we were talking about why people buy things.
What,
And-
when, where, and poetry. Those are the 4 options.
Right. How much does how well does the CEO rhyme?
How well is the poem?
Look, at the end of the day, if you have a thesis, man, and that, like, look, the people who got Tesla right were right on the why as well, right? They were right on the why. Tesla was the monopoly in EVs. Now, obviously, the when, if you got it in 2019 and not 2013, you saved yourselves of 6 years of waiting.
Yeah, or you could be homeboy that gave us $20 who's been retired since
since 2020.
January 2020.
I
Which is
still
like the
think if
week
you
of my
get the why
birthday. Like
correct-
literally that week of my birthday is when Tesla ran up like that. I think I was in Spain at the time and I was talking to Vitaly. I was like, "Are you seeing this?" Like ran up to like 900.
I invest based
amidst
on
the
Ronaldo's
idealists.
haircut. All right. Yeah, I think there's so much more news to talk, man. There's so much Elon stuff going. There's so much stuff every day. This is why it's so my mom, you know, we'll talk about tomorrow. My mom asked me, she's like, "What do you talk about every?" I'm like, "Mom, there's like so much shit to talk about every day, and we just get up and we talk because the markets
Mom,
are
I talk with 4 strangers in a closet. Is that
Loki
okay,
actually
Mom?
has no clue.
What'd you say? What'd you say?
I talk with 4 strangers in a closet. Is that cool, Mom? They're older than me too.
There's a quick question, Chris. Are you holding Weight Watchers through earnings?
Oh,
I
man.
sold a little bit last week, and I do still have some that I'm riding. But this is at this point, I'm just riding profit. I'm just letting profit do its thing. So I was in at $4, so I made really good money on that, and now I'm just chilling with the profits, and I'm letting the profits ride a little bit. So
It's
took
not
my
called
initial
profits
out.
if you don't sell, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, one time what we need to do, me and Carlos were talking about this a while ago, we need to put on Twitter Spaces while we're doing the pod, somehow connected to these mics, and just do the pod on Twitter Spaces.
Yeah.
And let just people turn in live to Twitter. Elon's got to figure out that to make that easy. That would be super dope. If we could do that.
I'm sure all that stuff's coming.
Yeah, it has to be.
I'm sure all that stuff's coming. I mean, even that whole thing, the pay per article, that's a great idea. There's so many
It's
times
an interesting
I want
idea.
to read. There's so many times I do want to read like one article from like Wall Street Journal, but I'm not.
What if it's
How
$5?
much? How much would you
What
pay
if it's
for that?
$5 for that article?
Here's the thing: if it's $5 and I find myself buying more than like one a month, then they'll get me. They'll actually make more money because they would get me to subscribe if they can demonstrate the value for the subscription before I have to pay for it.
But wouldn't it be easier for them
Try
to show
before
you
you buy
the
kind of
article and then they show you the value? Because
well, that's how what is that Seeking Alpha is. They give you like 3
yeah, but so that's why I don't get the logic of like, would you pay $5 for one article, and then if you catch yourself paying $5 again and again, you buy the subscription? Because I just don't think anyone would get past the
I
barrier.
wouldn't pay $5 an article, but I would do $2 an article.
It has to be
Although
micropayment.
you shocked me that a newspaper made of paper is $6. I couldn't believe that.
That's a lot of
I
articles.
I couldn't believe that it was actually $6.
I
for a
would
newspaper.
do like a very micro transaction kind of thing where basically you can put, let's say, $20 into your account on Twitter, right? So you have like almost like a credit system. And then depending on what the author wants to charge, they can put 5 cents, they can put 10, they can put 20, they could $1. And so
Dynamic
based on
pricing.
that,
You see,
Yeah,
it has
so-
to be micropayments, like you're saying. Imagine if
Yeah.
it was $1 an article. Well, I mean, I can get in the New York Times now for $1 a month for a year as a new subscriber. So it has to be something really cheap, 50 cents, 25 cents, something
Okay,
cheap.
but do you notice how when at the moment that you want to read the article, you're not prepared to sit there and type your credit card information and do it. If something like Chris is saying, where you have an account,
Oh
you
yeah,
just
no, that's going to
button
happen. He's
and
going to do that.
activate it. Boom. That would make it work for me.
So it's
like,
almost like you just have a button right there that says, hey, I want to read the rest of this. It's going to cost you 1 credit, right? So basically turn it into a credit system instead of a cent system. So it's almost like each credit is 1 cent. Like, let's say 1 credit is equal to 5 cents, right? So it says, oh, if you want to read this article, it's going to cost you 5 credits. So what happens is that those 5 credits get debited from your original credit. So whenever you want to read more, you could just buy more credits. So I want to buy.
They should call it birdseed.
Yeah.
There's a startup actually doing it called Zet Media. You guys can look into them. They're doing like this. You pay once a month and they give you access to like 30 different websites.
But that's what Apple's. That's what Apple
is. Yeah, that's why I never liked the startup. They raised like $1 million, and I was like, this is not a good idea. But Floodbugger says, Amit went to buy GDC today, saw the halt, checked the float, market cap, etc. China penny stocks have been hot by the pullback. So this is a China penny stock buy.
No, stay away.
He said he 4x'd on it, which is crazy. Well,
that
great job.
Let's learn the lesson from Chris's dad. Like you're literally Chris's dad's uncle right now, right? Isn't he doing Chris's dad's uncle?
Fudd actually understands
dick cancer, right? I'm just kidding. Just kidding, Fudd.
We end every podcast now insulting a member.
Oh man.
I hope you don't get
Fudd
dick
actually
cancer,
spends
Fudd.
most of his day in the market, so he finds these opportunities. So
yeah,
that's
all right.
That's it. Fudd, I hate your recent comment. I hate you so much. All right. That's it. We're ending it with 3 under 40. This is amazing. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate it. It means the world to spend your Monday night with us. Follow on Twitter. Let us know any topics you want us to talk about. DM any of us on Twitter and we'll respond. We love getting those DMs. Thank you guys to the moderators for keeping the chat awesome. Fudd, Kelly, Philip Rizzo, Jackalope, the usuals, Midwest Cannabis, Johnny. Thank you guys for being here. See you tomorrow. 10 p.m.
Are there any earnings coming up that we want to cover sometime this week?
He never lets us leave.
So Kelly will be on the podcast
always right before you're about to. He's like, yo, wait a minute,
guys. I have one more thing about Weight Watchers.
Guys, did you guys know GLP is actually like this?
Just
drug
pull up this chart real quick.
All right, see you later.
The highlight was Chris saying dick cancer. All right, bye-bye, guys. Peace. Good night, everybody. Have a great night. Bye-bye.